We are live. Welcome to the Rapid Recharge Self-Connection for the month of December. Oh my goodness. Good evening, all my friends. Welcome to the Recharge. I'm so glad that you're here. This entire month of December, we're focusing on and exploring self-reflection. And tonight, we're moving into one of the most foundational aspects of sustainable well-being and leadership, self-connection through authentic connection rest. So inside the UnVeiling Method, authentic connection is one of the core restoration pathways. When it becomes depleted or misaligned, we start to feel alone in the world, detached from family or friends, or even pulled towards people who might mistreat us. We may notice it becomes harder to maintain close relationships when that authentic connection gets disrupted, or even to feel connected to ourselves, that self-belonging. And that's really the heart of our time together tonight. As we close out this year and approach the end of 2025, this is a beautiful moment to pause, to reconnect and honor where you are in your inner landscape, emotionally, energetically, and relationally. How we nourish our relationship with others determines how we nourish the relationships we hold with others. And yet, it is so easy to set ourselves aside in the name of responsibility, the to-do list, caretaking, or just trying to keep up. Tonight is your opportunity to step into compassionate curiosity and reconnection. I am joined by my good friend and co-creator of the Leadership Performance Intensive, the incredible Michelle Peacock. Welcome to tonight's Recharge, Michelle.
I'm so honored to be here. And I love what you just said. I was like, this is the perfect time to get that centered, that groundedness. Like, you're so much family and so much chaos going on right now between work and family and connection that you almost could feel like lonely or alone. And it's such a beautiful way you phrase that, of just kind of being grounded in the present. I'm so excited to see where this is going.
Well, I love that because we're going to start after our opening breath work and meditation. Michelle's going to guide you through a set of powerful reflection questions, and she introduced these in her Word of the Year workshop earlier this week, and I loved them. I loved them so much. I said, Michelle, would you come share these on Wednesday night? Because they were so amazing. And she, of course, is so generous and kind, and she said yes. So I'm going to get us set and we're going to move into our breath work and meditation. Michelle, I'm going to let you go off stage so you can relax and follow along. Thanks so much. Here we go. Let's tap in. I invite you to sit comfortably. Feel your feet on the earth, on the ground beneath you. Feel your thighs, your lower back supported where you're sitting. Allow your shoulders to soften just a little bit more. Put a little space between your shoulders and your ears. Let your hands rest wherever they feel at ease. You might even want to do a nice big stretch real quick and just take a breath in and out. We'll start with a simple grounding breath to help you return home to yourself. I learned this on Saturday in a retreat that I went to about our body position. So before we breathe, I want to share this with you. So take your hands, place them on your backside, rear end, and kind of lift and pull up and out. And then as you sit, now that sort of removes the pressure off your tailbone and puts the pressure more evenly on your thighs. You can even take your hands and gently rotate each one of your thighs just a little bit outward to kind of open your hips a little bit. Yeah, ooh, that feels good already. Now with your feet where they're flat on the floor, gently raise them just slightly, the heel slightly off the floor. Where toes, that ball of your foot, there's a little pressure, but just a little bit of space above your heels. You don't have to sit up straight, but just pull your shoulders back and down a little bit. Soften your abdomen, like push in on your abdomen. So a lot of times we hold that really tight. Just kind of soften it a little bit. All right, let's start with some breathing. We're going to inhale through the nose for a count of 4. We're going to pause at the top for a count of 2. Then we're going to exhale slowly through the mouth for a count of 6. Let's do that together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2. Exhale through your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2. Exhale through your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One last time. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 2. Exhale for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you continue to breathe, imagine you're widening the doorway to your inner world. As you feel your ribs expand in every direction, all the way around, sides and front and back. Make a little bit more space. No forcing, just no fixing, just gently, just meeting yourself exactly where you are in this moment, just as you are right now. Keep your breathing soft and steady, just a natural flow in and out, as we move into our short meditation focused on self-connection and present awareness. Gently allow your eyelids to either grow heavy and soft and close, or just simply soften your gaze. Bring your awareness to the physical sensations of your body. Your seat supporting you. The weight of your hands. The connection of your feet to the earth. The temperature around you. The rhythm of your breath. Just notice what physical sensations are in your body right now. Quietly say to yourself, I am here. I am with myself. If it feels good to you, place your hand on your heart and repeat the phrases again. I am here. I am with myself. I invite you to place your hand now gently on your lap, however feels best for you. Notice any areas of your body that feel tight, tired, or tender. Observe your eyes, the back of your head, your neck. Maybe give it a little roll. Your shoulders, your lower back. Open and close your jaw. Maybe you're holding tension there. Just notice wherever your attention is drawn. Now offer those areas your presence, not to change them, but simply to acknowledge them. I say, neck, I feel you. Now imagine or simply sense a golden light at the center of your chest, right around your heart area. Feel the comforting warmth of that golden light. It does not need to be bright or bold, just present. This is the light of your authentic connection. The part of you that remains steady even when life pulls you away from yourself. With each inhale, imagine that light warming just a bit more. It's cozy and comforting. With each exhale, imagine that light expanding just enough to remind you of your own inner connection. Take a few moments to continue to gently breathe and experience your golden inner light, its warmth, its soft expansion, filling you and feeling the connection. If your mind wanders, gently return to the phrase, I am here with myself. We'll take a few more breaths of just quiet spaciousness here. Now bring to mind one feeling or one thought that is present in you right now. Just acknowledge it. Let that feeling know, I know you're there. Let that thought know, I hear you. You don't have to analyze it, just acknowledge it. Just let it know, I see you. As we close this meditation, I invite you to place one hand over your heart if that feels comfortable, and one hand beneath your navel, and say quietly or think to yourself, I honor where I am. I return to myself. Take one final full breath in and slowly release it out. And repeat one more time. I honor where I am. I return to myself. When you're ready, blink your eyes open or lift your gaze back into the space. Perhaps take a nice big stretch. Maybe shake your hands a little bit, just kind of move some of that energy that we created. Open and close your jaw a little, maybe even squish your cheeks up and relax them. That's such a wonderful place just to come back to ourselves for a moment. I'd now love to bring in Michelle, my collaborator in the Leadership Performance Intensive, and someone whose work in human design and deep inner reflection is profoundly supportive. Michelle will guide you through a few of her powerful 2025 reflection questions to help you integrate this year and orient toward what's ready to come alive in the next season of your life. Michelle, I'm going to hand it over to you, my friend.
Thank you so much. As you were doing that tonight, I was yawning a lot. I must have needed some oxygen. So thank you. That was so beautiful. And I loved, I wrote down a word when you were talking. I'm tight, tired, or tender. I freaking loved that. So thank you so much for that beautiful, um, just clearing. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And the word of the year is a really special exercise for me. It has really changed a lot in my life. And I'm not a really New Year's resolution person. Something I would do and then not really commit to. But when I started word of the year, I was like, how hard can it be to pick a word, right? I didn't realize it was going to change who I met that year, who left my life, what I was calling in, what I was leaving behind. It was a lot bigger deal than I actually anticipated. So my word of the year 2023 was joy. And this year I wrote a best-selling chapter in a book, Joy Unleashed, because I chose my word of the year. And so there are moments when you may not see all of these things, all the breadcrumbs fitting together, but I promise you, when you're intentional about the word that you pick and these reflections, that you are going to really build a practice that could be something to really set those intentions as you go forward. So let's get going. I have a few slides I'd like to do. Some of them we're not going to have, right, a 2-minute journaling kind of in between us here today. But when you look at 2025, what I'd like you to do is sit and look and think, what went really well? Right? There had to be some wins, even if you're like, hey, this was quite a year, right? And for those of you that know a little bit of numerology, we're in a universal 9-year, right? Closure, a lot of endings, kind of ripping out, cycles and kind of starting over. In my crop analysis, it's like you're taking out all the crops and you're getting ready for a new cycle, right? And so it is a year with some heavy feelings, but there are some things that went well, right? So if you take a moment, think about those things. Also, what brought you joy, right? And it could be something little. It could be, I did more walks this year, or I'm proud of myself for, you know, doing something that wasn't on my to-do list, right? Like I did not necessarily plan on writing a book this year and I did it. So there's these moments of kind of like, yeah, I did that this year. It brought me joy. And you know why I said yes to it? Because it brought me joy. And that's literally what my chapter is about, is how I found my joy job. So if you have these moments of micro joys and where you found joy, reflect on those. Maybe you need to incorporate more of that into your year. And then the next piece is, what goals did you accomplish, right? If you set goals, some of you are, probably have your own goal setting. Some maybe are more reflective, but what goals did you accomplish this year, right? In fact, most of the goals I accomplished this year were not on any of my goal lists going into the year. And I think some of those reflections are really, really beautiful, right? And so if you look at those kind of those three things, just take a moment and reflect on that. Okay. And then as you're looking at that, I'd love for you to just take this list, right? And I don't know if I should be in presentation mode. Let's see. I'll change that real quick for y'all. Dun, dun. All right, there we go. That looks better. So when you kind of have those reflections and you're thinking about word of the year, I'd love for you to put it through, maybe let's call it a little bit of a pressure test. This is a list of words that have come through my vibe as different people's words of the year. There are so many more. Obviously, you know the vocabulary. You can pick any word you want. Maybe you already have a word for the year picked, but take a look at this list. Is there anything jumping out at you? Right. And for example, I know that last night, Carol Jean found a word on this and was like, ooh, wait a minute. I think that's going to be a phrase that I'm going to, like, a multi-hyphenate word this year. Right. And so if you see a word on this that jumps out at you, maybe reflect on that a little bit. Maybe that word is calling to you, because I promise There's a lot of words here and they're in alphabetical order, okay? So no tricks. This isn't a mind game, but see if something jumps out at you, okay? And then the next thing we're going to do is write that word down. If anything jumps out at you, write that word down. And now we're going to play, I'll call it maybe a little Mad Libs, right? So if you were to take this word that you're thinking of for your word of the year or that you've already chosen, or maybe you're not sure yet, okay? Pick a word that maybe jumped out at you from the page I just showed. And what would it look like for you to fully embody that word? Okay. And we're going to go through some questions here and I'm just going to guide you through it. Where would you go? Right? Maybe it would be to a luxury vacation. Maybe it is to a cottage in the woods. Where would you go if you were fully embodied in this word? Next, what would you buy? Okay, maybe it's something elaborate. Maybe it is, oh, courage. I love that, Christine. Yes. So if you're feeling courage, what would you buy if you're courageous? Buy those rollerblades, right? Are those still a thing, right? Or you would learn to do something that would take courage for you, right? You'd buy that hiking, pass that you're like afraid to try. What adventure would you be taking, right? And who would you be taking with you on this adventure in that word? And also, who would you be leaving behind? Okay. And then, if you're talking about this courageous, elevated, unstoppable, maverick, consistent self, what would be a habit that you would start? And what would be one that you would stop? Okay. So again, we're not doing this, all live together today in this time frame, but walk through these because what you would start and stop, who you take with you. And then the last one that's really important is we always say, like, what are your goals and driven and hustle? But what would rest feel like for you in this word? Okay. So if you are courageous, what would courageous rest feel like? Okay. After, would it be maybe be courageous of you to take a full 2 weeks off in a row? Not many people do that, right? So what would it feel like to be consistent, to take every Friday afternoon off for the rest of the year? Ooh, what would that feel like to rest? Okay. And it's important to think through these kind of things when you're embodying a word. Okay. And now we're going to take this one I said is a little bit deeper. So take a screenshot, DM me, I'll send you the slides, whatever you need. But when you're defining success in 2026 and your word of the year is whatever you choose, right? And I'm not revealing my word. Sorry, guys. That doesn't come out till January for me. Embodying this word, right? And you're successful. What do each of these buckets look like? And it's okay if you can't think of something right now for all of them. That's okay. But think through in your elevated, in your embodied, in your courageous, consistent self, what would it feel like to have health and wellness, right? To have that word be how you approach your wellness. How would it approach your friendships? Okay, I want to make sure to save time here. How would your self care look if you were consistent, if you were courageous, right? What would your career look like? Would it be different? Maybe you want to incorporate more joy job into your world. And maybe that's a piece that would really help you be courageous this year or bold or full of joy, right? Legacy and impact. If you were this word, how would that feel if somebody at the end of the year said, this person really had an impact on me, right? I know that the year I chose joy, I had a lot of people say, you brought so much joy to my life this year. And I was like, wow, did I? Huh, great. I'm so happy for you because I was doing it for me and I had an impact on people. Your word, people are going to feel you embodied in your word. Okay. Then the last few, right? How does your finances feel? What experiences and adventures do you go on? Maybe what does your spiritual and your faith look like, right? Whatever that means to you. Are you creative? What are you passionate about that can go with your career? Or maybe the career and joy job, maybe you can blend those a little in the middle. And then again, let's go back to that rest and recharge. And what does that look like? Okay. So again, as you embody and you walk through these, it's really what do you feel like? And then lastly, this is the last piece of the pressure test is what challenges or obstacles do you foresee if you choose that word, right? Maybe you're going to need to pivot throughout the year, right? I know my word of the year this year was abundance. And I thought I was going to be calling in all this abundance and things. And what it really did is cause me to reflect on what I already have in abundance in my life. And the lesson it taught me is to be in the state of abundance, you actually need to be in the state of receiving, right? You called it in, but you need to be truly aligned with what you're receiving in, or you're actually going to block your own abundance. Well, shoot, that was a deeper lesson than I was anticipating this year. So then look for it and say, what do you foresee as an obstacle? Maybe finances are going to be an obstacle for you being that full, courageous self. Maybe motivation, right? Hopefully, health isn't going to be a challenge. But if you think through these, are there going to be points when you can pivot and kind of get ahead of what you see as being an obstacle? Okay. So, again, if you're really thinking through these challenges, that's when you can really boil this down. Okay. And then lastly, I like to just say, putting all that together, now, how do you feel about your word? Does it still feel good? Does it feel a little icky? Does it feel empowered? Do you need to sit with it a little bit longer? That at the end of the day is how you're going to really boil down the intentions that you're calling into 2026. And that's the last piece of the exercise is saying, this is my word of the year when you're really embodied and full in it and you really are excited. And then these are my top 3 intentions that I'm calling in for the year. And whether you do that through a beautiful meditation, rest and recharge, or whether you'd like to join us on some of our human design or our LPI, that's where I'm going to close today and let Carol Jean take over. But please, if you need these slides, just take this exercise seriously because you're going to have moments of feeling empowerment through going through this exercise. And Carol Jean, I'm so grateful that you brought me on to share it, and I'm so grateful that you learned so much from it in our exercise yesterday.
Oh my gosh, my favorite part, and I think even hearing it again tonight just
Yeah,
really solidified how powerful that one question really is around what challenges might you encounter with that word?
yeah,
That was something I've never thought about in my word of the
mhm,
year before. And I
yeah,
see our friends Christine and
yeah.
Natalie and Jen in the chat. Hi, y'all. And Christine, you chose courage. I know Michelle said I saw something on there and I'm like, ooh. So I have an amplifier. So mine is unstoppable courage. So we're going to have to partner up, Christine, with our courage for the coming year. And
Yeah,
be each other's courage supports there. But I loved
yeah,
that we really step into, and I think this is something we don't always, I don't know, Michelle, you tell me, when we think about self connection and like the relationship we have with ourselves, especially when we get to this time of year and it's about all the things that we're giving and doing for other people. And one of the things I just said this December is I'm calling in a little you time. And to really be able to move into you time, we got to create some space for ourselves. And I wanted to do that tonight where we could do this. What does you time and self connection mean for you, Michelle?
It means something different every year. I think this year it is really leaning into doing more of what lights me up inside. And also, I think a little bit more self-care. I thought I was doing a good job of that this year. And then my sister was like, "Did you eat today?" I'm like, I yeah, yes. And I'm like, she's like, nope, you took too long to answer. It's like, shoot, you are not wrong. And so whether it's incorporating more hormone balance or sleep or rest, it's really just, I think, challenging myself to put me first a little bit. And that's, you know, a challenge when you're used to doing things for other people and you have a to-do list as long as Santa's naughty list. So yeah, I think for me, it's gonna be kind of that reflection and making sure that I leave time for that rest. That rest piece for me on that exercise is always important because so many of these words are ambitious, right? And when you have these ambitious and courageous goals, sometimes you forget that you need to rest in between to like hear that white space. And that is what I'm going to try to do. I love accountability partners and with your word of courage, it's going to be a big and bold year for both of us. I'm super excited.
I am. Michelle hosts my Vibe community, and we've partnered up to bring her gift of human design and my research into leadership well-being science so that we have data and metrics, but we also have a very customized and personalized blueprint of you. And we've brought these two together in the Leadership Performance Intensive. And this Friday at 11 a.m., Michelle and I have partnered up and we are teaching 3 different classes every Friday in December. And this Friday is Leadership Complexity. It's on last week when we talked about stress, but don't worry if you didn't make it last week. I'll give you a quick catch up on Friday so you won't miss anything in that complexity level that might be creeping in more than you realized. We're going to unlock more about it. And Michelle's going to layer in that human design to really make it all about you because December is all about you, my friend. And Michelle has a fabulous class, and I want you to tell everybody a little bit about this, that's following our 11 a.m. class on leadership complexity on our Chiron Rise. To us about the Chiron.
My gosh, Chiron is something that once I heard it, I was like, wait a minute. That is why all of my badass friends are like in their 50s, completely shining, rocking, making these bold moves. And so Chiron is an activation, the Chiron return between ages 49 and 51, depending on your chart. And it is this beautiful activation of taking your core wound and turning it into your greatest learning lesson, your wisdom you're supposed to share back and teach with others. And it's also this beautiful journey of kind of the universe saying, "Hey, we're going to give you this potential of elevating yourself through your lived experiences. Are you up for the challenge?" And there are so many women that I have seen so lit up inside, making their big, bold moves, their pivots, their this. And then as when I learned about Chiron, I'm like, wait a minute, all of these women are in their Chiron. Ding, ding, ding. I understand now. And I want people to feel activated through their Chiron. And we're just going to dive into what is it? How do you look at the different pieces of your chart? What are you here to learn? How are you here to share with others? It's customized to you. I think that's what's so beautiful about human design that I love so much is I can tell you what Chiron is. And then there's that what's in it for me moment when I can show you, oh, yours is this and someone else is completely different. Ignore theirs. This is yours. And to me, that's what this paradigm shift into 2027 is going towards is everybody wants custom individualization and we all want to feel a piece of the whole because we have a common denominator, but we still want to be our own unique selves. And that is where human design comes in. And even if you're not 50, you feel the pull of these 3.5 years before your return. And even if you're in your 30s or your 40s, there's other returns for you. This one, I'm happening to focus on the Chiron, but there's a Uranus return, there's Saturn, and there's all these cycles. And the more you're aware of how these cycles impact you and the lessons you're going to learn, man, talk about pairing a word of the year with a numerology, with the right cycle that you're in. It does not mean that this is easy, my friends. Yeah, no. But what it does mean is you have self-awareness and you can prepare. And some of those things you're like, man, I wish that I had like, hindsight's 2020 or a blueprint. This is the closest thing that you can have to a blueprint. And I cannot wait to share it with everybody.
Oh my gosh, Nellie, yes. Oh,
That's
Jen,
Molly
yes.
Shannon.
Molly Shannon, that's Jen. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm 50.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, totally. This is one of the most beautiful things. And so we just are so thrilled to invite you to attend one, attend both, attend all of the things that are coming up. If you're looking for the links and the list of all the free events that are coming up this week in Whittington Wellbeing and with My Vibe and what Michelle and I are doing together with LPI, go to our Whittington Wellbeing page. Check out Michelle and Michelle Peacock. She has it up too. And I do on my personal LinkedIn page at Carol Jean Whittington. So you can grab those. Join us for all one or hey, whatever works for you. We also have replays available. And we just want to say thank you so much for being part of tonight's Rapid Recharge Lab, where we're really coming back to ourselves. And it's all about you, my friend. Take gentle care of yourselves this evening, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care, everybody. Good evening. Bye-bye.